What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor Anime. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, guys, I am here to bring you all my review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4, Episode 7. So let's get this started. So pretty much what happened in this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, we have Koichi and Josuke pretty much teaming up with one another in order to take out a stand user that is residing in their school. We pretty much open up this episode with a guy staring at his posters in his room, listening to the radio, and then all of a sudden grabs his mechanical pencil, and it seems like he's out of it. Like, he is completely out of it, and what he does with his mechanical pencil is simply gouges out his left eye, and then he comes to the realization right after he ends up gouging out his eye that he's like, oh, I gouged out my own eye. I just thought that was pretty funny because as soon as he ends up gouging out his eye, a few seconds later he's just like, oh, like he just completely realized that he gouged out his own eye, and then we have it to where the opening plays out, and I'm just like, what? We come to find out that after the opening, that the guy with the afro that Koichi ended up battling it out against in the last episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4, we come to find out that he is leading Josuke and Koichi on to more information regarding stand users, and that there is in fact a stand user who is residing within their school, and his name is Hamada, and he is pretty much the one who had connections with this person who ended up gouging out his left eye, which was in the beginning of the episode. Apparently, I guess they had like a little dispute with between one another, and Hamada went out of his way to actually pretty much use his stand in order to take out this friend's left eye. So what stand could this be? We come to find out in this episode that he is in fact a puppeteer. So pretty much what this stand user's ability is that he can control mannequins in order to take the form and shape of a specific individual and act out as like a voodoo doll, for example. Basically, we have it to where the doll itself will be able to inflict pain on the original person who ended up staring at the mannequin in the first place. We have it to where the doll can end up, you know, like for example, we got in this episode to where it was about to gouge out Josuke's right eye, and in order to inflict pain on the original person, the doll would have to inflict pain on itself. However, it doesn't feel pain because the mannequin is made out of wood. Pretty much the first confrontation that Josuke and Koichi had with the stand user, they got their asses handed to them. And to me, that's a good thing, because I rather have, you know, the characters figure out on how they can actually, you know, take down a certain enemy rather than just, you know, bullshitting their way out of it through the first fight or so. And that's what we see in this episode. We see Koichi and Josuke actually developed some sort of strategy in order to track down the stand user and find a way on how they can actually defeat it. And we see that Koichi also played a role into this episode as well, because we saw as soon as the first confrontation was over, we see that the stand user and the puppet end up leaving, and we see that Koichi ended up placing a mark with his stand. And I guess from what I gathered out of this episode is that since in the last episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4, we know that Koichi has the ability to manipulate sound. So I guess from what we saw in this episode to how Koichi played a role in all this is that by placing the mark on that puppet, Koichi and Josuke were able to track down the enemy that they were facing, because of how Koichi ended up placing that mark to which they could hear their sounds and their footsteps and whatnot. So that was pretty interesting to see. Oh yes, and then of course at the end of this episode we see that the yellow chicken ends up making an appearance yet again, the one who has the electrical powers, who can pretty much go through anything that is electrical. We see that he has the bow and arrow, and it seems like we are possibly going to end up coming across him later down the line of the later episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to come. I'm not exactly sure when we will, though, of course, you know, but it does seem like, since because he ended up making an appearance in the end of this episode, we could see him make an appearance in the next few episodes to come, but we'll just have to wait and see. So far, yeah, I'm really enjoying JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4. It is awesome, and it still seems like we are in the early stages of Part 4. Nothing too serious has gone down, but then again, you know, as I said before, this is like the early stages of Part 4 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and from what I have heard, we could be getting like 2 seasons with Part 4. That could be a rumor. I don't know if that's a confirmation or not, but from what I heard, that Part 4 is probably going to end up being like Stardust Crusaders, in which it had like 2 seasons and the total amount of episodes was like 48 or something like that. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, you know, how long the series is going to be, and if that is true, then I'm expecting that later down the line, in the later episodes of this series, things will start to get more heated up, and I can't wait for that. So yeah, let me know your overall opinions on what you thought about this episode in the comments down below, and of course, if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like. It is always greatly appreciated, and if you want to stick up to date to my future content on this channel, please hit that red subscribe button below, and you will never miss a video from me. That about does it for this video, guys. Love you all, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace!